next step, service design. Like I said, it can be shaped as a business analysis or product marketing, how it is done, Have you done some business analysis in last years or product marketing activities? Okay, some service design specifically? Yes, very well. So service design is defined as planning and organizing of people, digital channels, communication, and facilities. And when I'm asked what is the secret recipe, there is no secret recipe. It's creative thinking, how you can really arrange your service activities and steps, or even rearrange to make the best possible experience for the customers. So this is like common sense. In Estonian, it's called like, you can do it with talupojatarkus in Estonia, So, and it's not some kind of, but you have to really keep in mind that you have to focus on people, digital channels, communication, and facilities like the showroom, for example. So, firstly, interviewing the end users. It's getting to know about their users' habits and their needs and fears, etc. So, how you do it is by asking a lot of open questions, but the questions will not be answered by yes or no or something like that. They will be answered more like open. What do you think about, how are you usually doing this, that kind of questions, and then customers, users relieve themselves and open up. And then usually maximum 45 minutes per interview, so usually I'm doing around maybe 3 or 4 interviews per day, but then I'm super exhausted because you have to have every minute and second, you have to have the full focus of what the other person is talking and showing and saying. So that's why I really suggest to not to do too many interviews per one day. So everybody is fresh and sharp then. And just an example where I used lately really extensively this interviewing was Luminor Bank's new leasing system, which was like pre-analyzed in the beginning of the last year. And I got a call in the beginning of the March that we have half a year to do new generation of Luminor leasing system for the sales staff, which are in the car showrooms mainly. So let's do it. Summer comes, summer holidays, beaches, let's do it. And actually I made the first thing I said that the whole project will be built on design thinking, basically philosophy steps. I immediately recruited interviewers and observers in Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania to sit like 3 or 4 sessions close to the car salesman in the showrooms and observe how they are using the software with the current situation, what kind of softwares they're using before that and after that, etc. That was the first thing to do. And we got everything recorded already in, I think in 2 or 3 weeks, we got all the data back, and we saw immediately some kind of patterns out of it that, what seems to be the common problems and with the biggest impact. So we already got a lot of insights out of even this 15 interviews around the Baltic, which were done in a couple of weeks. So, next up, work shadowing. So during the interviews, also at the Estonian, Latvian, Lithuanian car retailers, the observers or interviewers, they also observed how they are using their system, what kind of steps, and they actually found out that in order to make one car offer, the showroom thought that you can do it in 15 minutes. Here is the car in the showroom, make an offer, maximum 15 minutes. And some people actually did it 45 minutes or 1 hour, and car in the showroom. And actually what we saw that when talking about employee experience of the internal systems, they were actually walking around 10 different like softwares and browser views to get one car offer ready or something like that. So this Luminor leasing program was only one step, but a lot of work had to happen before that internally. Is the car available in the stock? Is the pricing correct? Do we have a campaign? Doesn't have some kind of accessories in the showroom? A lot of details, and actually it was amazed that there can be a little bit more improvement for the preparation of this offer. It's not a question about leasing, what is the car price, some interest rates, etc. It wasn't really about that. So, and we also observed the users and also the support personnel who was additionally assisting sales staff to do their job. So, and usually with these observations, I try to do it only once a day from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, and you observe like around 2 hours, and you have to be a little bit like invisible. You have to have hygiene okay. You cannot have, the shoes cannot click around too much on the floor. So you are as much as unnoticeable as possible when you are doing this kind of observation, and you really have same clothes than the customer service sometimes. If they are using t-shirts, you have to be in the t-shirt, so you don't, you like set in quite well. So it's really important to do the work shadowing, and we did this with the Luminar service, Luminar leasing new service design as well. So out of these observations and interviews will be documented something which is called the types of personalities, which is called personas. So persona is a user model created from investigating the needs of the user. So this is how you document it. It's usually this kind of template. And it includes the goals, needs, and interests of the user. And scenarios, one day in my life, are also written to these personas. So for example, you have interview insight, you will say that, okay, this is a freelancer Jane, he has this kind of fears, she works from home, etc. But really, to dig into this typical profile of the user, you make this kind of scenario, like one day in my life, like an essay, or like a script for the 2-minute YouTube video about her life. You think it up, and then you go really inside this user, and you can impersonalize really well. And later on, if you design the service, and you can have different personas, and for one persona, you will do basically one customer journey mapping. And for one persona, you do usually some kind of different marketing proposition or value proposition strategy. So this is usually persona-based. Correct? So next up, customer journey mapping. So with one of the recent works with one of the startup in the finance, we used to have the interviews, we did the personas and everything, and we do the customer journey mapping as shown here. So customer journey mapping is one of the tools in service design just to map this kind of experiences with the service by, let's say, touch points and steps. Do it by channels. So you have different channels, email, web, browser, you can have really different channels. And you find association between these experiences. So it's also persona focused and like movie scenes of the service. So I got just an example that when you watch a Netflix movie or whatever in the cinema, you will have usually some kind of opening scene with a Bond movie. That's a really good example, like baba, some effects, some chasing and everything. And then this opening scene, when you design the service, you really have to do some kind of wow opening scene for the customer. And when the customers in a journey mapping go further to the service, sometimes it's really more quieter scenes. And in Bond movies, there can be romantic scenes or something else. So it'll be quieter scenes. Then you have another action, ba-bam, wow scenes, and then you can really design it for the service as well. So opening scenes, ending scenes, middle scenes. So scenes are usually then mapped as a sequence, one after. And each persona, for one of the startups we did lately, this journey map is created for each persona. And I will just explain in a moment more deeply how we did it. So when you talk about customer experience and the journey mapping, then are really 3 major stages when you are designing this experience. So you can see this as a, let's say, movie scenes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. You have before the service, it's usually searching for the service, onboarding the service, like getting some suggestions from social media or from friends, etc. So this is everything what's going on before the service. So you have done this really well, right? Then it's really easy. And here an example of the 3 different personas who are Laura, Klaus, and Jake. So before the service, they actually maybe searched something, found it, and tried to understand how it works, and then it comes out that here it's mapped, so to say, emotional journey. So happy, sad, happy, sad. So upper part is happy, lower part is not so happy. You see that some of the personas had, when onboarding the service, really good experience, and one of them had really bad experience or something like that. So in here, when I'm a designer and I'm looking to that, then I'm saying that, okay, it's good to know, but maybe it's not super critical right now. Let's see what happens further. Now they start using the service. They are inside the service. They maybe are reconfiguring service. They are maybe buying some services in services like internet connections or TV or whatever you can do. And then actually what may happen that each 3 personas will get a really bad experience in this step of the service. And when I'm moderating this service design process and designing it, then I'm definitely focusing in the first step to these 3 things what are like on the minus side from here. And then during the service, you will once again can have this kind of like a Bond movie. You have like, wow, fantastic like experiences, and then once again it may, for some users, this may fade away. So that's how you read and understand the customer journey map, with also mapping the emotional journey of the steps. So usually somebody has, what's the difference of the business analysis and customer journey mapping? So what's the difference? The difference is that the business analysis usually doesn't measure emotional process using the service. And they are more business analysis like BPMN or etc. They are having really like sequences and tasks when using the service. And with the customer journey mapping, you can do global customer journey maps, zoomed in customer journey maps for a service. Then you can really focus on the emotional journey using personas, insights from the interviews, etc. Correct? Yeah. Okay, here is an example of the customer journey of the customer who is buying a vacation from the travel site. So here he uses tablet and browses around to find some post in social media that, you know, some kind of special offers, booking.com, go to some travel site. He maybe thinks to double check with a travel agency because maybe he has been conservative, but doesn't matter. He is back at home. He decides I will do anyway. It's everything in online. So what are the reviews for this service? Good, bad. Okay, I found something from here. Okay, then I will already, when I'm at work, I'm already dreaming of the vacation. What kind of communication is brought from this travel agency back to me when I'm dreaming about that? How they support my dream, you know, wow, stuff, yeah. Then you start pack your luggage. What should I pack for my travel? What kind of clothes or stuff have to take with me? Then I'm encountering something in the airport. How my travel documents are designed? Can I use them really well? Do you understand them? Then you arrive at the destination. Once again, how do my travel documents and everything work? Then you are like scanned. You will have some forbidden items with you, maybe. Then you are traveling, dreaming. Do you have something to read about your next experience during the traveling to keep up your anticipation? Then how well you are served. Then you're landing. Then you are going to hotel. Then you are dreaming or wanting to do some activities. And then you are having really good night out with your friend or closest one. Then you are flying back at home, and then you are writing this review. Okay, and the next user who comes to the service reads this review. Yeah, so you can see how many. So this is really snapshots. I have done service which has, like with Estonia showroom, we had almost I think here is like around 18 steps. We had like 45 steps in one persona journey. So this is really a summary, but you can get the idea of the steps of the journey map actually. So going back, so these scenes I was just talking, they were dividing like with the before the service, during the service and after the service, this emotional journey. So this is what the customer journey map is all about. And just an example, what we did last year on the Estonia showroom, that was the end of the day. And disclaimer, customer journey map is not it's not a deliverable. So when I'm done with the customer journey map, I'm handing over to the customer saying that, take it, we are done. So this is only the beginning. So out of this, you will just get just a tool on which to get the insights and brainstorm. So firstly, what we did, we had teams brainstorming on, we had the persona, correct one, interviewed, agreed. One day in my life scenario was done, everything, it was done in half an hour or something like that, quite fast. Okay, persona was agreed here, and then everybody in the team, usually there are in the room few customers, always with the customer journey mapping, few customers, to get this honest feedback, somebody from the customer service, and somebody who is product owner, basically, or service manager, for example. And they were tasked to brainstorm all this kind of connection points what the customer has during the service, like before the service, during the service, and after the service. And when each one individually brainstormed them and presented solutions to the other, then some overlapping ideas came and everything was mapped on the screen in that way. And actually, when we were mapping, we saw that we have some steps with the phone, we had some steps with the website, we have a lot of emailing, as you see, a lot of email activities here. We had going physically to the showroom, and also some other channels, which were, for example, TV or emails, etc. And how we map it, basically, we draw the straight line to the connected activities. So this one goes phone, email, boom, 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 done, and then showroom and event is done. So this is like Estonia showroom. And this kind of dotted line are like parallel activities or like connected activities to these steps. And when we did it, actually every team member got a pen to vote, are the users happy at this step, or they are like sad, or like not happy? So is it wow, or is it no? So, and then they brainstormed again, okay, that here is fine, here is fine, here is we have a lot of like problems actually occurring. And also in the beginning, so in this middle part, then the team once again, only for this persona, only for this journey map, brainstormed in 1 hour or something like that, new solutions, how to improve this experience in the steps. And these actually, then after this like presentation or mapping of customer experience, it was then later on documented in this kind of new business process idea and this kind of as a documentation. So later on, if the customers wanted to like present internally inside the house how this new service or new ideas will look like, so they don't have to show this kind of photo of the post-its on the wall, but you have really good document that you can really inform internally other stakeholders in your business. So this is how it's done. And later on, if everything is mapped, you can really see that some steps are before the service, some steps are during the service, and some are after the service. And in here you have, across different channels, you have the similar activities which are mapped. For example, it's investigation is here, information exchange is here, so it can have different channels, both showroom and email, for example. So that was done with the Estonia showroom, and now it's, after this service design was done, it was actually, the name was changed from Estonia showroom to Estonia briefing center, because the service was redesigned quite largely.